हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम टू द लाइव सेशन। तो अब हम देखने वाले हैं एनसीईआरटी ज्योग्राफी क्लास 12, जिसमें आज हम देखेंगे चैप्टर 3 ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट। तो शुरू करते हैं हमारा आज का चैप्टर। 60 years ago, Rekha was born in a family of small farmers in Uttarakhand. She helped her mother in household chores, while her brothers went to school. She did not receive any education. She was dependent on her in-laws after she was widowed immediately after marriage. She could not be economically independent and faced neglect. Her brother helped her to migrate to Delhi. For the first time, she traveled by bus and train and was exposed to a large city like Delhi. After a while, the same city which attracted her with its buildings, roads, avenues, and facilities and amenities disillusioned her. With greater familiarity of the city, she could not comprehend the paradoxes. The jhuggi and slum clusters, traffic jams, congestion, crimes, poverty, small children begging on traffic lights, people sleeping on footpaths, polluted water and air revealed another phase of development. She used to think whether development and underdevelopment coexist, whether development helps some segments of population more than the other. Does the development create haves and have-nots? Let us examine these paradoxes and try to understand the phenomena. Of all the paradoxes of our times mentioned in the story, development is the most significant one. Development of a few regions individuals brought about in a short span of time leads to poverty and malnutrition for many, along with large-scale ecological degradation. Each development class biased. Apparently, it is believed that development is freedom, which is often associated with modernization, leisure, comfort, and affluence. In the present context, computerization, industrialization, efficient transport and communication network, large education system, advanced and modern medical facilities, safety and security of individuals, etc., are considered as the symbols of development. Every individual, community, and government measures its performance or levels of development in relation to the ability and access to some of these things. But this may be partial and one-sided view of development. It is often called the Western or Eurocentric view of development. For a For a post-colonial country like India, colonization, marginalization, social discrimination, and regional disparity, etc., so the other phase of development. Thus, for India, development is a mixed bag of opportunities as well as neglect and deprivations. There are a few areas like the metropolitan centers and other developed enclaves that have all the modern facilities available to a smaller section of its population. At the other extreme of it, there are large rural areas and the slums in the urban areas that do not have basic amenities like potable water, education, and health infrastructure available to the majority of this population. The situation is more alarming if one looks at the distribution of the development opportunities among different sections of our society. It is a well-established fact that majority of the scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, landless agricultural laborers, poor farmers, and slum dwellers, etc., are the most marginalized lot. A large segment of female population is the worst sufferers among all. It is also equally true that the relative as well as absolute conditions of the majority of these marginalized sections have worsened with the development happening over the years. Consequently, vast majority of people are compelled to live under abject poverty and subhuman conditions. There is yet another interrelated aspect of development that has direct bearings on the deteriorating human conditions. It pertains to the environmental pollution leading to ecological crisis. Air, soil, water, and noise pollutions have not only led to the tragedy of commons, but these have also threatened the existence of our society. Consequently, the poor are being subjected to three interrelated processes of declining capabilities. That means social capabilities due to displacement and weakening social ties, social capital, second, environmental capabilities due to pollution, and third, personal capabilities due to increasing incidence of diseases and accidents. This in turn has adverse effects on their quality of life and human development. Based on the above experiences, it can be said that the present development has not been able to address the issues of social injustice, regional imbalances, and environmental degradation. On the contrary, it is being widely considered as the prime cause of the social distributive injustices, deteriorations in the quality of life and human development, ecological crisis, and social unrest. Dutch development create, reinforce, and perpetuate this crisis. Thus, it was thought to take up human development as a separate issue against the prevalent Western views of development, which considers development as the remedy to all the ills, including human development, regional disparities, and environmental crisis. What is human development? Human development is a process of analyzing the range of people's choices, increasing their opportunities for education, healthcare, income, and empowerment, and covering the full range of human choices from a sound physical environment to economic, social, and political freedom. Thus, analyzing the range of people's choices is the most significant aspect of human development. People's choices may involve a host of other issues, but living a long and healthy life, to be educated, and have access to resources needed for a decent standard of living, including political freedom, guaranteed human rights, and personal self respect, etc., are considered some of the non negotiable aspects of the human development. Concreted efforts were made to look at development critically at various times in the past. But most systematic effort towards this was the publication of the first Human Development Report by United Nations Development Programme (UNDP) in 1990. Since then, this organization has been bringing out World Human Development Report every year. This report does not only define human development, make amendments and changes its indicators, but also ranks all the countries of the world based on the calculated scores. According to the Human Development Report 1993, progressive democratization and increasing empowerment of people are seen as the minimum conditions for human development. Moreover, it also mentions that development must be woven around people, not the people around development, as was the case previously. You have already studied the concepts, indicators, and approaches to human development and methods to calculating the index in your book, Fundamentals of Human Geography. In this chapter, let us try to understand the applicability of these concepts and indicators to India. Human development in India. India, with a population of over 1.20 billion, is ranked 134 among 172 countries of the world in terms of Human Development Index. With the composite SDI value of 0.547, India finds herself grouped with countries showing medium human development UNDP 2011. Low scores in the SDI is a matter of serious concern, but some reservations have been expressed about the approach as well as indicators selected to calculate the index values and ranking of the states or countries. Lack of sensitivity to the historical factors like colonization, imperialism, and neo-imperialism, socio-cultural factors like human rights violation, social discrimination on the basis of race, religion, gender, and caste, social problems like crimes, terrorism, and war, and political factors like nature of the state, forms of the government, democracy or dictatorship, government level of empowerment are some factors that are very crucial in determining the nature of human development. These aspects have special significance in case of India and many other developing countries. Using the indicators selected by the UNDP, the Planning Commission of India also prepared the Human Development Report for India. It used states and the union territories as the units of analysis. Subsequently, each state government also started preparing the state level human development reports using districts as the units of analysis. Although the final HDI by the Planning Commission of India has been calculated by taking the three indicators as discussed in the book entitled Fundamentals of Human Geography, yet this report also discussed other indicators like economic attainment, social empowerment, social distributive justice, accessibility, hygiene, and various welfare measures undertaken by the state. Some of the important indicators have been discussed in the following pages. Indicators of economic attainments. Rich resource base and access to these resources by all, particularly the poor, downtrodden, and the marginalized, is the key to productivity, well-being, and human development. Gross national product (GNP) and its per capita availability are taken as measures to assess the resource base or endowment of any country. For India, it is estimated that the GDP was rupees 3,200,000 crores at current price, and accordingly per capita income was rupees 20,813 at current prices. Apparently, these figures indicate an impressive performance, but prevalence of poverty, deprivation, malnutrition, illiteracy, various types of prejudices, and above all, social distributive injustices and large scale regional disparities belie all the so called economic achievements. There are few developed states like Maharashtra, Punjab, Haryana, Gujarat, and Delhi that have per capita income more than rupees 4,000 figure at 1980 to 81 prices per year, and there are a large number of poorer states like Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Odisha, Madhya Pradesh, Assam, Jammu and Kashmir, etc., which have recorded per capita income less than rupees 2,000. Corresponding to these disparities, the developed states have higher per capita consumption expenditure as compared to the poorer states. It was estimated to be more than rupees 690 per capita per month in states like Punjab, Haryana, Kerala, Maharashtra, and Gujarat, and below rupees 520 per capita per month in states like Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Odisha, and Madhya Pradesh, etc. These variations are indicative of some other deep-seated economic problems like poverty, unemployment, and underemployment. The disaggregated data of poverty for the states show that there are states like Odisha and Bihar which have recorded more than 40% of their population living below the poverty line. The states of Madhya Pradesh, Sikkim, Assam, Tripura, Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya, Nagaland have more than 30% of their population below poverty line. Poverty is a state of deprivation. In absolute terms, it reflects the inability of an individual to satisfy certain basic needs for a sustained, healthy, and reasonable productive living. Employment rate for educated youth is 25%. Jobless growth and rampant unemployment are some of the important reasons for higher incidences of poverty in India. Indicators of a healthy life. Life free from illness and alignment and living a reasonably long lifespan are indicative of a healthy life. Availability of pre and postnatal health care facilities in order to reduce infant mortality and post delivery deaths among mothers, old age health care, adequate nutrition, and safety of individuals are some important measures of a healthy and reasonably long life. India has done reasonably well in some of the health indicators like decline in death rate from 25.1 per thousand in 1951 to 8.1 per thousand in 1999 and infant mortality from 148 per thousand to 70 during the same period. Similarly, it also succeeded in increasing life expectancy at birth from 37.1 years to 62.3 years for males and 36.2 years to 65.3 years for females from 1951 to 1999. Though these are great achievements, a lot needs to be done. Similarly, it has been done reasonably well in bringing down birth rates from 40.8 to 26.1 during the same years, but it still is much higher than many developed countries. The situation is more alarming when seen in the context of gender specific and rural and urban health indicators. India has recorded declining female sex ratio. The findings of 2001 census of India are very disturbing, particularly in case of child sex ratio between 0 to 6 age groups. The other significant features of the report are, with the exception of Kerala, the child sex ratio has declined in all the states and is the most alarming in the developed states of Haryana and Punjab, where it is below 800 female children per thousand male children. What factors are responsible for it? Is it the social attitude or scientific methods of sex determination? Indicators of social empowerment. Development is freedom. Freedom from hunger, poverty, servitude, bondage, ignorance, illiteracy, and any other forms of domination is the key to human development. Freedom in real sense of the term is possible only with the empowerment and participation of the people in the exercise of their capabilities and choices in the society. Access to knowledge about the society and environment are fundamental to freedom. Literacy is the beginning of access to such a world of knowledge and freedom. Table 3.3 showing the percentage of literates in India reveals some interesting features. Overall, literacy in India is approximately 65.4% 2001, while female literacy is 54.16%. Total literacy as well as female literacy is higher than the national average in most of the states from South India. There are wide regional disparities in literacy rates across states of India. There is a state like Bihar which has very low 47.53% literacy, and there are states like Kerala and Mizoram which have literacy rates of 90.92 and 88.49% respectively. Apart from the spatial variations, percentage of literates in the rural areas and among the marginalized sections of our society, such as females, scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, agricultural laborers, etc., is very low. It is worth mentioning here that though there has been improvement in the percentage of literates among the marginalized section, yet the gap between the richer and the marginalized sections of the population has increased over the years. Human Development Index in India. In the backdrop of the above mentioned important indicators, the Planning Commission calculated the Human Development Index by taking states and union territories as the unit of analysis. India has been placed among the countries showing medium human development. What is the rank among the 172 countries of the world? As indicated in table 3.4, Kerala with the composite index value of 0.790 is placed at the top rank, followed by Delhi, Himachal Pradesh, Goa and Punjab. As expected, states like Bihar, Odisha and Chhattisgarh are at the bottom among the 23 major states in India. There are several socio-political, economic and historical reasons for such a state of affairs. Kerala is able to record the highest value in the SDI largely due to its impressive performance in achieving near 100% literacy. In a different scenario, the states like Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, Assam, and Uttar Pradesh have very low literacy. States showing higher total literacy rates have less gaps between the male and female literacy rates. Apart from the educational attainment, the levels of economic development too play significant impacts on SDI. Economically developed states like Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, and Punjab and Haryana have higher value of SDI as compared to states like Chhattisgarh, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, etc. Regional distortions and social disparities, which developed during the colonial period, continue to play an important role in the Indian economy, polity, and society. The Government of India has made concentrated efforts to institutionalize the balanced development with its main focus on social distributive justice through planned development. It has made significant achievements in most of the fields, but these are still below the desired level. Population, environment, and development. Development in general and human development in particular is a complex concept used in social sciences. It is complex because for ages it has thought that development is a substantive concept, and once it is achieved, it will address all, all the socio cultural and environmental ills of the society. Though development has brought in significant improvement in the quality of life in more than one way, but increasing regional disparities, social inequalities, discriminations, deprivations, displacement of people, abuse of human rights, and undermining human values and environmental degradation have also increased. Considering the gravity and sensitivity of issues involved, the UNDP in its Human Development Report 1993 tried to amend some of the implicit biases and prejudices which were entrenched in the concept of development. People's participation and their security were the major issues in the Human Development Report of 1993. It also emphasized on progressive democratization and increasing empowerment of people as minimum condition for human development. The report recognized greater constructive role of civil societies in bringing about peace and human development. The civil society should work for building up opinion for reduction in the military expenditure, demobilization of armed forces, transition from defense to production of basic goods and services, and particularly disarmament and reduction in the nuclear warheads by the developed countries. In a nuclearized world, peace and well being are major global concerns. At the other extreme of this approach lie the views expressed by the new Malthusians, environmentalists, and radical ecologists. They believe that for a happy and peaceful social life, proper balance between population and resources is a necessary condition. According to these thinkers, the gap between the resources and population has widened after 18th century. There have been marginal expansion in the resources of the world in the last 300 years, but there has been phenomenal growth in the human population. Development has only contributed in increasing the multiple uses of the limited resources of the world, while there has been enormous increase in the demand for these resources. Therefore, the prime task for any development activity is to maintain parity between population and resources. Scholars like Sir Robert Malthus was the first one to voice his concern about the growing scarcity of resources as compared to the human population. Apparently, this argument looks logical and convincing, but a critical look will reveal certain intrinsic flaws, such as resources are not a neutral category. It is not the availability of resources that is as important as their social distribution. Resources everywhere are unevenly distributed. Rich countries and people have access to large resource baskets, while the poor find their resources shrinking. Moreover, unending pursuit for the control of more and more resources by the powerful and use of the same for exhibiting one's prowess is the prime cause of conflicts as well as the apparent contradictions between population, resource, and development. Indian culture and civilization have been very sensitive to the issues of population, resource, and development for a long time. It would not be incorrect to say that the ancient scriptures were essentially concerned about the balance and harmony among the elements of nature. Mahatma Gandhi in the recent times advocated the reinforcement of the harmony and balance between the two. He was quite apprehensive about the ongoing development, particularly the way industrialization has institutionalized the laws of morality, spirituality, self reliance, non violence, and mutual cooperation and environment. In his opinion, austerity for individual, trusteeship of social wealth, and non-violence are the key to attain higher goals in the life of an individual as well as that of a nation. His views were also re-echoed in the Club of Rome report, Limits to Growth, Scrum, Scrummaker's book, Small is Beautiful, Brundtland Commission's report, Our Common Future, and finally in the Agenda 21 report of the Rio Conference. ये है इस चैप्टर का एक्सरसाइज और ये चैप्टर हमारा छोटा सा था तो कंप्लीट हो गया है, इसलिए अब हम चैप्टर 4 शुरू करेंगे जो कि है ह्यूमन सेटलमेंट्स। तो शुरू करते हैं हमारे ये चैप्टर। Human settlement means cluster of dwellings of any type or size where human beings live for this purpose. People may erect houses and other structures and command some area or territory as their economic support base. Thus, the process of settlement inherently involves grouping of people and apportioning of territory as their resource base. Settlements vary in size and type. They range from a hamlet to metropolitan cities. With size, the economic character and social structure of settlements changes, and so do its ecology and technology. Settlements could be small and sparsely spaced. They may also be large and closely spaced. The sparsely located small settlements are called villages, specializing in agriculture or other primary activities. On the other hand, there are fewer but larger settlements which are termed as urban settlements, specializing in secondary and tertiary activities. The basic differences between rural and urban settlements are as follows. The rural settlements derive their life support or basic economic needs from land-based primary economic activities, whereas urban settlements depend on processing of raw materials and manufacturing of finished goods on the one hand and a variety of services on the other. Cities act as nodes of economic growth, provide goods and services not only to urban dwellers but also to the people of the rural settlements in their hinterlands in return for food and raw materials. This functional relationship between the urban and rural settlements takes place through transport and communication network. Rural and urban settlements differ in terms of social relationship, attitude, and outlook. Rural people are less mobile and therefore social relations among them are intimate. In urban areas, on the other hand, way of life is complex and fast, and social relations are formal. Types of rural settlement. Types of the settlement are determined by the extent of the built-up area and inter-house distance. In India, Compact or clustered village of a few hundred houses is rather universal feature, particularly in the northern plains. However, there are several areas which have other forms of rural settlements. There are various factors and conditions responsible for having different types of rural settlements in India. These include physical features, nature of terrain, altitude, climate, and availability of water. Second, cultural and ethnic factors, social structure, caste, and religion. Third, security factors, defense against thefts and robberies. Rural settlements in India can be broadly be put into four types: clustered, agglomerated or nucleated, semi-clustered or fragmented, hamleted, and dispersed or isolated. Clustered settlements. The clustered rural settlement is a compact or closely built up areas of houses. In this type of village, the general living area is distinct and separated from the surrounding farms, barns, and pastures. The closely built up area and its intervening streets present some recognizable pattern or geometric shapes, such as rectangular, radial, linear, etc. Such settlements are generally found in fertile alluvial plains and in the northeastern states. Sometimes people live in compact villages for security or defense reasons, such as in the Bundelkhand region of central India and in Nagaland. In Rajasthan, scarcity of water has necessitated compact settlement for maximum utilization of available water resources. Semi clustered settlements. Semi clustered or fragmented settlements may result from tendency of clustering in a restricted area or dispersed settlement. More often, such a pattern may also result from segregation of fragments. or fragmentation of a large compact village. In this case, one or more sections of the village society choose or is forced to live a little away from the main cluster of village. In such cases, generally the land owning and dominant community occupies the central part of the main village, whereas people of lower strata of society and manual workers settle on the outer flanks of the village. Such settlements are widespread in the Gujarat plain and some parts of Rajasthan. Hamleted settlements. Sometimes settlement is fragmented into several units physically separated from each other name, bearing a common name. These units are locally called Panna, Para, Pali, Nagla, Dhani, etc. in various parts of the country. This segmentation of a large village is often motivated by social and ethnic factors. Such villages are more frequently found in the middle and lower Ganga plain, Chhattisgarh, and lower valleys of the Himalayas. Dispersed settlements. Dispersed or isolated settlement pattern in India appears in the form of isolated herds or hamlets, a few herds in remote jungles or in small hills, with farms or pasture on the slopes. Extreme dispersion of settlement is often caused by extremely fragmented nature of the terrain and land resource base of habitable areas. Many areas of Meghalaya, Uttaranchal, Himachal Pradesh, and Kerala have this type of settlement. Urban settlements. Unlike rural settlements, urban settlements are generally compact and larger in size. They are engaged in a variety of non agricultural, economic, and administrative functions. As mentioned earlier, cities are functionally linked to rural areas around them. Thus, exchange of goods and services is performed sometimes directly and sometimes through a series of market towns and cities. The cities are connected directly as well as indirectly with the villages and also with each other. You can see the definition of towns in chapter 10 of the book Fundamentals of Human Geography. Evolution of towns in India. Towns flourished since prehistoric times in India. Even at the time of Indus Valley Civilization, towns like Harappa and Mohenjo-daro were in existence. The following period has witnessed evolution of towns. It continued with periodic ups and downs until the arrival of Europeans in India. In the 18th century, on the basis of their evolution in different periods, Indian towns may be classified as ancient towns, medieval towns, and modern towns. Ancient towns. There are a number of towns in India having historical background spanning over 2000 years. Most of them developed as religious and cultural centers. Varanasi is one of the important towns among these. Prayag or Allahabad, Patliputra or Patna, Madurai are some other examples of ancient towns in the country. Medieval towns. About 100 of the existing towns have their roots in the medieval period. Most of them developed as headquarters of principalities and kingdoms. These are four towns which came up on the ruins of ancient towns. Important among them are Delhi, Hyderabad, Jaipur, Lucknow, Agra, and Nagpur. Modern towns. The British and other Europeans have developed a number of towns in India, starting their foothold on coastal locations. They first developed some trading ports such as Surat, Daman, Goa, Pondicherry, etc. The British later consolidated their hold around three principal nodes: Mumbai, Bombay, Chennai, Madras, and Kolkata, and built them in the British style, rapidly extending their domination either directly or through control over the Princely states. They established their administrative centers, hill towns as summer resorts, and added new civil administrative and military areas to them. Towns based on modern industries also evolved after 1850. Jamshedpur can be cited as an example. After independence, a large number of towns have been developed as administrative headquarters. Example Chandigarh, Bhubaneswar, Gandhinagar, Dispur, etc. And industrial centers such as Durgapur, Bhilai, Sindri, Varunai. Some old towns also developed as satellite towns around metropolitan cities such as Ghaziabad, Rohtak, Gurgaon around Delhi. With increasing investment in rural areas, a large number of medium and small towns have developed all over the country. Urbanization in India. The level of urbanization is measured in terms of percentage of urban population to total population. The level of urbanization in India in 2011 was 31.16%, which is quite low in comparison to developed countries. Total urban population has increased 11-fold during 20th century. Enlargement of urban centers and emergence of new towns have played a significant role in the growth of urban population and urbanization in the country. But the growth rate of urbanization has slowed down during last 2 decades. Classification of towns on the basis of population size. Census of India classifies urban centers into 6 classes as presented in table 4.2. Urban center with population of more than 1 lakh is called a city or class 1 town. Cities accommodating population size between 1 to 5 million are called metropolitan cities and more than 5 million are mega cities. Majority of metropolitan and mega cities are urban agglomerations. An urban agglomeration may consist of any one of the following three combination: a town and its adjoining urban outgrowths; second, town, two or more contiguous towns with or without their outgrowths; and third, a city and one or more adjoining towns with their outgrowths. Together, forming a contiguous spread. Examples of urban outgrowth are railway, colonies, university campus, port area, military cantonment, etc., located within the revenue limits of a village or villages contiguous to the town or city. It is evident from table 4.2 that more than 60% of urban population in India lives in class 1 towns. Out of 423 cities, 35 cities or urban agglomerations are metropolitan cities. 6 of them are mega cities with population over 5 million each. More than one-fifth to 21% of urban population lives in these mega cities. Among them, Greater Bombay is the largest agglomeration with 16.4 million people. Kolkata, Delhi, Chennai, Bangalore, and Hyderabad are other megacities in the country. Functional classification of towns. Apart from their role as central or nodal places, many towns and cities perform specialized services. Some towns and cities specialize in certain functions and they are known for some specific activities, products, or services. However, each town performs a number of functions. On the basis of dominant or specialized function, Indian cities and towns can be broadly classified as follows. Administrative towns and cities. Towns supporting administrative headquarters of higher order are administrative towns, such as Chandigarh, New Delhi, Bhopal, Shillong, Guwahati, Imphal, Srinagar, Gandhinagar, Jaipur, Chennai, etc. Industrial towns. Industries constitute prime motive force of these cities, such as Mumbai, Salem, Coimbatore, Modinagar, Jamshedpur, Hooghly, Bhilai, etc. Transport cities. They may be ports, primarily engaged in export and import activities such as Kandla, Kochi, Kochigode, Visakhapatnam, etc., or hubs of inland transport such as Agra, Dhulia, Mughal Sarai, Itarasi, Katni, etc. Commercial towns. Towns and cities specializing in trade and commerce are kept in this class. Kolkata, Saharanpur, Satna, etc. are some examples. Mining towns. These towns have developed in mineral-rich areas such as Raniganj, Jharia, Digboi, Ankleshwar, Singrauli, etc. Garrison cantonment towns. This town emerged as garrison towns such as Ambala, Jalandhar, Mao, Babina, Udhampur, etc. Educational towns. Starting as centers of education, some of the towns have grown into major campus towns such as Roorkee, Varanasi, Aligarh, Pilani, Allahabad, etc. Religious and cultural towns. Varanasi, Mathura, Amritsar, Madurai, Puri, Ajmer, Pushkar, Tirupati, Kurukshetra, Haridwar, Ujjain came to prominence due to their religious or cultural significance. Tourist towns. Nainital, Mussoorie, Simla, Pachmarai, Jodhpur, Jaisalmer, Udkamandalam, Uti, Mount Abu are some of the tourist destinations. The cities are not static in their function. The functions change due to their dynamic nature. Even specialized cities, as they grow into metropolises become multifunctional, wherein industry, business, administration, transport, etc. become important. The functions get so intertwined that the city cannot be categorized in a particular functional class. तो ये है ये चैप्टर का एक्सरसाइज और इसी के साथ हमारे ये चैप्टर भी कंप्लीट हो गया। तो आज हमने 2 चैप्टर देखा 3 एंड 4 और अगर आप चैनल पर नए हैं तो चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर दीजिए और नोटिफिकेशन आइकन पर क्लिक कर दीजिए ताकि आप डेली लाइव क्लास ज्वाइन कर सकें। साथ ही अगर आपको वीडियो अच्छा लगे तो लाइक कर दीजिए और अपने दोस्तों के साथ शेयर कर दीजिए ताकि उन्हें भी हेल्प हो सके। सो हमारा आज का सेशन यहीं तक था। थैंक यू, थैंक्स फॉर ज्वाइनिंग।